Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you get 2 videos today. Dragonstorm is inspired. Let's talk about smear campaigns. How you doing, y'all? I am Lodanis, Ravenwolf Dragonstorm, you see here. And sage hail to my fellow survivors and thrivers from narcissistic abuse. You understand, if you've been through this, the smear campaign. You understand. It hurt at first. It did. Let's face it. Somebody you cared about, somebody that was your friend, someone who was close to you, someone that loved you, taking everything that you told them personally and using it against you. What about when they worked you up? You guys remember the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp trial, right? Whew, them narc bitch, it can be crazy. They will drum you up and then record you at the worst moment in order to vindicate their lies, in order to show that they're not the person that they said they were. The abuser is actually the person that they're abusing. You remember going through that, right? Guys, you remember all that. You remember the flying monkeys coming in, especially all the other narcissists, narcopaths, psychos, and dumbass toxic people who have nothing better to do with their time than stalk others and try to harass them and smear the name. They all jumped in on the fray. And when you were going through it, when your heart was broken, when you were destroyed, when all your support systems were leaving your side, you felt alone. You felt weak. You couldn't deal with it. You had to go into isolation. But there was that time. There was that time after isolation when you begun to understand who you are, what you had just been through. First off, this is a few things, some advice I'm going to give to y'all who's dealing with a smear campaign from a Hoovering Hobgoblin who needs a white padded room or bring back dueling, if you know what I mean. First off, if you've already been through it, it doesn't hurt anymore, right? Own thy shit. Own it. Own everything. Own everything. You have to own everything. Everything that has happened, everything that you've gone through, your reactive abuse, what they call reactive abuse, which is really just a person acting irrationally to a completely crazy situation that is being put onto them with purpose. The maliciousness, the targeted maliciousness of this entire cycle is bent on that person, that narcissist, that toxic person, begging for your attention, screaming with their hands in the air for your attention because they don't have a life of their own. Imagine the energy it takes, guys, to be a person who derives any kind of sense of self from breaking down and destroying another. That is some small energy, if you know what I mean. Small energy, if you know what I mean. Hey, so you gotta kind of feel bad for these people. When you have gone through it, though, getting back to my point, when you have gone through it, you've already been through it. You've already owned your shit. You already owned everything that possibly happened. You already went through a smear campaign with targeted harassment and the flying monkeys. You already had all of the truths being said, that grain of truth, the way that intelligence operatives operate, little grain of truth, and then to spin an entire narrative on it. You don't be scared of it. Do not be scared of it anymore. You've already been through it. First off, you recognize that toxic behavior coming a mile away, and you already know the steps that are going to happen after it, because a narcissistic person cannot help but follow the same basic steps. These are basic people. There's no reason to fear them. There's no reason for them to be agitated, for you to care, for you to wonder. And most especially, if you are, as I was, built a 10,000 subscriber channel off of entire networks of people trying to smear my name, that and hard work and narcissistic abuse awareness, you can monetize that ass. You can monetize them. I came at a guy who had 250,000 subscribers. I think he lost a lot because he's a narcissist and he's been losing a lot of subs. Came at him twice and said, thank you. Subscribe to Dragonstorm. I appreciate that. And he stopped. There was nothing more for him to do. He was helping me to grow. So this is what you do when you're dealing, especially with a public smear campaign. Use it to increase your image. Use that fuel. They're trying to get fuel from you. Reverse that. You 180 that. You use it. You've already owned your stuff. You've already owned it. You've already explained what you have felt you had to explain. And any single person, anyone who has been through narcissistic abuse, targeted harassment, smear campaigns, love bomb, devaluation, the lies, the flying monkeys, all of it, anybody that's been through it is going to recognize it. They're going to recognize it. The support system that you build after you go through what we have been through, my brothers and sisters, it may not be large, but they are all people who understand the cycle of abuse. They're all people who understand what you've been through, what that person was, and what they've done. So if another one comes along, you already know what to expect. You already know. And you're already moves ahead. God's forbid, God's forbid that we didn't learn anything after what we went through, right? Right? You've already been drugged through the mud. You've already been isolated. You've already had your name. And first off, anybody who wants to believe lies about you wanted to believe them in the first place, or doesn't know you at all. So what the hell do they really matter in your life? You've already been through it. You've already dealt with a person with the emotional immaturity of a toddler, having a rage fit, screaming, trying to get your attention because their baba's broken and their blanket is dirty. All right. And maybe Uncle So-and-so touched them at some point in the family, whatever their trauma was that made them the eel, the clown of Lucifer that they are. These are clowns. It does not matter how intelligent, how creative, how smart, doesn't matter the outreach, doesn't matter who they are. If you control your fifis, as I've said many times, if you have emotional control, there's nothing that they can do. You have control of the field. They are an addictive personality. You cannot help but smear and destroy other people's names. They cannot stop it. They're going to lie. They're going to put on the best fake face that they can muster, and they're going to lie about you anyway. You know what's coming. Isn't it easier to point those people out? Or if you're trying to grow a social media platform or something like that, if you're worried about a business, this gives you a chance to educate others on the narcissistic abuse cycle, on how cluster Bs target you for harassment. This is your chance to explain to them, to get new subscribers, to get new people. They're doing you a favor. The first narcissist that broke your mind and changed you and turned you into the strong person that you are today. All right. Truth of it is, they gave you an alley-oop. Right? That was a come up. That was a come up. You learn more about yourself, how to protect yourself. You learn more how to love yourself and be a friend to yourself. You learn how to discern who's a good person and who's not, who's talking trash and who's not, who's making the toxic moves and who's not. You're able to see these things now. It was a come up. Embrace it fully. Embrace the logic, the lessons, embrace everything that you went through and use it as armor. These are the new weapons and armor of your life. Smear campaigns can't hurt you no more. You've already been through it, right? And if that liar is out there still lying, if you're still going through a smear, let them lie. Let them lie. What weight do lies have? They only have weight with people who believe the lies. You're a stronger version of yourself than you've ever been. And if you are growing something like in a way, because a lot of the survivors like myself who make this type of content, doing it because we're survivors of narcissistic abuse, because we have been through it, because we know what's coming, we know what the cycle is, and we're trying to educate others and support others that are going through the weak areas, or going through those times, they're going through the Hoovers or trying to break the trauma bond. Like, that's what we're here for. This is why we do what we do. This is why I'm so authentic in expressing everything throughout all the stages of what I went through with you guys. The smear campaign against me was insane. It was insane. It involved so many different people, right? That person that abused it did not love me. If you love somebody, you don't gather enemies and you don't try and target and smear them and destroy them. You don't use videos or voicemails or text or anything presented in a false pretext in order to smear someone's name. That is loser, and that is small energy. That is not a tough person. That is not a badass. That is not a person that loves you. That is not your friend. That is not anybody that you can care to associate with. It doesn't matter what they say. And let a narcissist show themselves for who they are. Let them show themselves. All right? Because a person like that can't help but burn people over and over and over again. Their false facade, their false face is everything. And if you're growing a platform, use that energy. Use it. Thank you to any person in the last several years who has targeted me for a smear campaign. Any toxic person who has. You helped to grow my channel, bolster my strength, create a better version of myself. And you've also allowed me to help others who have been through what we have, because I'm stronger for it now. And I see it coming a mile away. Thank you. Thank you. Continue on pulling my legacy cart. This is how you got to be with these types. You know what's going to happen? You're going to lose interest. They will eventually. The smear campaign will end, no matter what. All right? Because they're going to need more fuel from another target. It's all about provocation. It's all about trying to get an emotional rise out of you. You have control over your emotions, and you can see these goblins for who they are. What power do they have over your life? None. None. Not a bit. Not a smidge. Most especially if you've already been through a smear campaign, a targeted harassment, multi-platform smear campaign on your name. You've already been. What power do these people have? They don't realize it because they're grandiose. They think they think they're a lot more than they are. They think they're a lot more formidable than they really are. These weasels are not anything threatening. Anything at all threatening. You know this, brothers and sisters. You've been through it. You've seen it. When it comes to a smear campaign, truth above all else. The truth always shows itself. That's what you do. All right, stay true. Recognize the signs. Recognize red flags. If you see somebody targeting you for concentrated harassment, you know what to do. You've been through it. You've been through the steps. Protect yourself. Love yourself. Be a friend to yourself. And be good to each other. And never again suffer those fools. My love to y'all.